the podcast, because I do the audio recording of this, I'm going to now go to Instagram. So we are, I don't know, all over the place today. A pause due to poor connection. How is there a poor connection? Okay, let's make sure that mic doesn't fall out. Oh, hey, Jesse, what's up, dear? I was hoping you would see the messages and join. Good morning. Well, you're not in the morning. Where you are, it is five minutes past the afternoon, so I hope you're well, and I hope Rocky is there. Please give Rocky some love for everybody who doesn't know, especially on Instagram, because I haven't posted to Instagram for quite a while, or at least lived. Rocky is a bird, and according to Jesse, one of my most hardened supporters and fans. I think we should make him president of is there a fan club or something like that for birds? That would be amazing. Anyways, to everybody else, I want to welcome you to the Freedom Coffee live stream, where we celebrate the freedoms that we have, and we work on expanding those freedoms in the future. We work on different ideas and suggestions and all sorts of stuff. And according to Jesse, Rocky is here watching, so that's pretty awesome. And, how do we do this? So, one of the things we talk about here a lot is positivity. We look at the positive framing of things that are going on. We don't always, we're going to talk about negative issues, of course, but it doesn't mean that the noise should necessarily affect us. We can still go on our lives and our daily lives and focus on positivity and focus on things day to day while still acknowledging the negativity and be able to work against it. So we do that by coming together around positivity. We get what is most important, our cup of coffee, which I'm going to sip right now, and I hope you join me, with sufficient slurp, because that gives you the kind of positivity that you need. And now we are in the positive headspace. We're away from anxiety. Those of you who are here know I've talked about the 5-minute journal many times on the importance of framing your days in the morning, especially ones that are those stressful days. And Jesse, coffee. Yes, Jesse. You're awesome. I appreciate you being here. So, let's just start. I don't know, how was your week, right? And by the way, please like, share, and subscribe this on whatever platform you're on. And if you're on Odyssey, even better, because I've been wanting to get this working for a while. I don't know if it is working, but if it is, that would be great. I mean, I actually accomplished something, because this week wasn't a week of accomplishments, that's for sure. Live video ended on okay, I don't know why it ended, but it ended. All right, so I guess we're just going to give up on anything Facebook related, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. All right, well, less aggravation to deal with. So, this week for me was, I don't know about you, hopefully you had a good week, and we'll catch up on stuff here. And please, Jesse, let me know how you and everybody else has been. I began my week with a breakdown in the middle of, where was I? Pennsylvania. And just to give an idea of scale of distance in trucking, in order to get it serviced, I was lucky that I was able to limp, but I had to limp to New Jersey, a couple of hours away to get some service, and I had to wait for some parts and waste another day, night sort of thing in the truck. But luckily I was in one of these massive truck stops with desks and tables and chairs and comfy chairs, and took my laptop, did some work, and that's where I actually released the last Substack, which you should check out, bjdichter.substack.com. The last one is called Honking for Christmas, and hopefully that will resonate with you, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then, so after the truck breaking down and finally getting it fixed and getting back to Canada, then I made this amazing decision to update my operating system on my computer. I'm sure you've all been there. From Mac OS, whatever the last one was, I can't remember. They use names that are so forgetful now. And I apparently upgraded it from the last Mac OS to this one I call Mac OS Windows Vista. because nothing worked. It was a nightmare. It was so frustrating, and couldn't save anything, couldn't do anything. But, you know, if you don't allow the frustration to get to you, you work through it over time. It took me a couple of days, finally got through it, did another install, all that sort of stuff. And everything was cool. The last 2 weeks here has been complete S. It's complicated, but can use this. Well, look, we all go through that, Jesse, and I get that. So the two of us together have had a week that was a little bit, you know, on the surface frustrating. But at the end of the day, if you don't let it bother you too much, then it's pretty cool. You get to work through stuff. So, anyways. So that was that, and then I just did an interview on Mark Petroni's radio show on Saga 960. So if you're in the Toronto area, you should be able to pick it up, or you can listen online on Saga 960 AM, something like that. And I think they're going to air the interview at 1 o'clock today, or it's part of the 1 o'clock show. So a little bit from now. Actually, when I'm finishing is probably when they'll start. And going to be doing Brandon Gentili. For those of you who don't know, I host with Brandon. We host Political Bitcoin Hour on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. And Brandon also has a podcast, so I'm going to be joining him today to talk about some stuff. And we're going to be together next week in Las Vegas, which is going to be very exciting. Anybody who's watching here, despite the fact I've added Odyssey and I have all these other platforms I'm trying to use, I did remove broadcasting to Twitter, formerly known as X, or X formerly known as Twitter, one or the other. And that's because the ongoing shadow ban continues. I don't blame Musk for that. I blame the programming of the algorithm from before him, and I figure it's only a matter of time till it gets fixed, I hope. But for some reason, even though I meet all the criteria, the subscription model where I could broadcast to or whatever, I'm still not approved for it. So, okay, fine. I'll just use all the other platforms to do so. All right. So let's get into this is so good. It's so good. Andrew Tate versus Ben Bankas. So yesterday, a couple of days, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I woke up and Ben Bankas, who is an acquaintance of mine, friends of friends, was getting into a online altercation with Imam Tate, the guy who I described on Lotus Eaters as the most beta male LARPing as an alpha male I've seen in a long time. In my opinion, he's just a huckster and a charlatan who knows how to exploit young men for money and knows how to exploit women for money, I guess, which is why I guess he's a pimp or whatever. Anyways, he's a pimp slash imam slash drunk guy slash stooge for the ISI now, apparently, according to my sources. But anyways, the memes were amazing. Today's meme, I'm not going to post it on here. It wouldn't be politically correct, and it might upset some people. But if you go to Ben Bankas' Twitter, and you'll see the back and forth with with Imam Tate, it's the funniest thing you've ever seen. But the guy, it's himself. It's just as I described on Lotus Eaters when we did Stelios' program, which is the one that symposium which discusses philosophy. My take and my opinion and my experience shows me he's just using cookie cutter persuasion techniques. Like you can check them off in a checklist what he's doing. The ideas aren't his own. He just knows how to, like a huckster, how to manipulate people, which is, I guess, a skill. But I don't know that it adds very much value into the public discourse. And now that he's become a mouthpiece for Islamists, the extremists, that from what I understand, he's run out of, what I was told, this according to a source, to me, he ran out of money. So a lot of the crypto stuff is tied to the ISI. That is the Pakistani intelligence agency, which is different than other intelligence agencies because they're Islamists and they're radicals. At least a good faction of them are. And so my guess is he'll be dead in 5 years. That's probably what he's done to himself. But either that or he'll become a radical imam. One or the other, right? So, All right. Next on the good news. This is just a little bit more introspective, and I hope you may agree or disagree with me. But we had that car accident that we all thought was a terrorist attack at the border, and everybody has, weighed in on this, but not many people have weighed in afterwards. And it was the local news that were the ones that labeled it a terrorist attack initially, and they had basically, the fake news had misinformed people, as they always do, that a car drove up to a booth and full of explosives and detonated, which was not the truth at all. So, what has happened? Well, it seemed to be, I think we know as much as we're ever going to know. We're never going to be told anything more than what we know so far. But it was a Bentley. It looks like a Continental GT that careened out of control and, hit the fence next to the row of booths. That's the border that I cross all the time. Not necessarily, not the Rainbow Bridge that's in the car, but when I'm in the truck, I'm in the bridge right next to it. There's a truck bridge and a car bridge. And anyways, it turns out that wasn't the case. The car ran out of control, and you saw people speculating online. Of course, the fake news then speculates that, there was a mechanical failure. I've been around cars my whole life. I'm a super car nerd. I've done a lot of work on cars. I still work on cars when I have time. I don't know how. I don't know what system would fail. Like when a car fails, you've all been in cars. When a car fails, and this is why Tesla was a little bit unique with autopilot, because it doesn't have the constraints of internal combustion. But when a car fails, it ends up in its stopping, not going faster. Now, that's a unique difference between electric cars, right? And I've never heard of, I don't know what systems would have to fail, or how many systems. It would have to be multiple systems at once would have to fail in order to have a car to careen out of control where the driver can't stop it. Like, throw it into park, press the stop button. I mean, cruise control is designed to cut out first, right? Jesse, the brakes. No, the car's got a hydraulic braking system, right? That's just fluid dynamics. And, even if the brake booster fails and you have zero brake pressure, just the compression braking from the engine will always slow down the car, especially even if you have an automatic and you shift it into first gear or low gear. Like its natural state is to be stopped, not moving forward, right? So it's my theory, and maybe I'm wrong, is if you look at the demographics of a Bentley owner. I have a friend who was a service manager at Bentley for many years. The demographics of a Bentley owner, they tend to be, obviously they're wealthier. They often tend to be overweight. They often tend to be, 60s, 70s sometimes. And we are getting into, and people who worked a lot, so endured lots of stress in their life, or maybe even currently do. And that all to me screams cardiac arrest. What do you think about that? That the guy was driving and he fits that demographic of people, male, age group, possibly overweight, might not have been, but I'm just, the consistencies amongst, I'm trying to take a pool of Bentley owners. And that might explain things, right? It might explain that cardiac arrest, guys driving with cruise control on, or has his foot on the gas, cardiac arrest, his foot goes down to floor the gas, the passenger can't wake him up or whatever, doesn't know what to do, is panicking, and well, there you go, right? If it was a heart attack, Ben, then why the bomb sniffing dogs afterwards? I don't know. I don't know. So one of the guys, Will, who's in the Discord chat, by the way, you're very much missed. Will has also told me that despite the fact I've never seen the sniffer dogs going up and down the lines of cars before, well, two things. It could just be a precaution. But second thing is, he said he's seen them before. So maybe just I haven't, the hundreds of times I've crossed the border. I mean, I know they've been there. They always have them on site. But I don't know. That's just my thought. But the thing that I found was interesting was why? Why did we all take the bait from the legacy media, the fake news media that reported it was a car accident, a terrorist attack, and we all believed it right away? Scott Adams brought up this point. He said if there's one thing he tries to tell his audience is just don't trust the legacy media. Now let me just fix this right here. But he fell victim to the bait as well, and he explains it this way, and I tend to agree, and I'm going to take it a little bit farther, which is his take is because he wanted it to be real. Now think about that he wanted it to be real, that we, is what he's suggesting, wanted it to be real. Now why would we want it to be real? Why would we want it to be a terrorist attack, right? Versus what it seems to have been, a car accident. Why did we take the bait so easily? And I have a theory. I think many of us remember what's been going on. What happened on October 7th. We see all these, jihad protests all over the West. The governments are clamping down on the people who just want normality back, while they prop up extremists. All of us are very frustrated, and you see the propaganda arm coming from the authoritarian state shoving all this down our throats. And in the case of October 7th, you saw this 7th century barbarism of just really heinous stuff that's quite difficult to even talk about, right? And what do we see? We see propaganda and brainwashing, trying to convince people that no, the savages are the good guys, the savages are the victims. And I think that's another side of the propaganda, the dangers of propaganda we ignore. That when you propagandize people like that and gaslight them, you're gonna cause an element of reciprocal response. And reciprocal extremism or reciprocal violence is what you're seeing in Ireland right now, right? When they are constantly gaslighting and propagandizing people and telling them, no, don't believe your eyes and ears. We're going to tell you what's going on. Well, the natural state would be like what Scott Adams and has indicated, that he and other people wanted it to be real. Because if you're going to gaslight and lie to us, then you naturally just want more things in your arsenal to wake up the people who are being brainwashed and lied to. I think that's where it comes from. That the amount of the effectiveness of propaganda and brainwashing, and when you see a crisis in when you see this extreme event on October 7th all over the internet and all over the news, and they're gaslighting and lying to you, it's a natural instinct to say, fine, this is a terrorist act too. See, here, there's more of it. That's a natural instinct. And I think that also proves something that I've been talking about on this stream for a little bit. That is, and in the Twitter spaces frequently, that we as human beings, it was Cialdini, I think, that really laid this out best. We don't make rational decisions. We make emotional decisions, and we post-rationalize. Because is it rational to say, fine, certain people wanted it to be a terrorism attack, to be additional evidence in the arsenal to help unbrainwash people? Is that rational, or is that emotional? I think that's emotional. But I don't know. What do you think? Tell me what you think, Jess. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, Ireland is next. Some YouTubers need to stop trying to hate on Tate. Imam Tate. I loved when Imam Tate has gone full SJW on Bankas. That was hysterical. Like, they're such charlatans. It's so... I mean, if people want to be swindled by con artists like him, I get it. There's a lack of leadership in the world. And when there are people that speak up, then, yeah, the political establishment comes along to try to pull the rug out from underneath them. But he's added zero value other than manipulating people for money. And now he's become a mouthpiece for Islamists, which is why his fate is going to be quite negative. And he has no clue how he screwed himself. So not somebody to follow. That doesn't mean, once in a while he'll say things that are accurate. Yeah, a broken clock is right twice a day. We do need a society where people are more, where there's more masculine traits and strengths, and we're not weak like everybody is in the West. But unfortunately, that's not him. He's beta male. He's as beta male as they come. The difference is he's a beta male who's learned persuasion techniques and how to manipulate people into thinking he's alpha. I posted that video from, some YouTube channel, they were analyzing him trying to talk to some woman on a date. He has no clue. He has no clue how to talk to women. But he does know how to say, hey, baby, you want some money? So he knows how to bribe certain women like a pimp. But he has no skill sets of communication with women on that level. And that's been, very obvious to many of us for some time. So he's not somebody you should follow. All right, Ireland. So Ireland is burning. And that's that reciprocal violence that I had talked about, which, the government can be blamed for that. All those extremist leftoids that are running that government and flushing it down the toilet, they're the ones to blame for it. They're the ones who are fostering reciprocal extremism. Why? For the same reason I just gave you with the Bentley car accident, the border. Because the gaslighting, the propaganda, the lying, the repeated don't believe your lying eyes and ears, we're going to tell you what to think. Guess what the response is? After that attack from, it was another migrant who should not have been in the country that was supposed to be deported from, the culture of peace that Imam Tate is a part of now, stabbed some young children, and people had had enough because they've been dealing this for forever. If you ever watch that YouTube channel, I haven't watched it in years. I used to watch a lot. The guy's Irish. It's called Computing Forever, I think is the name of it. Guys from Ireland. And been talking about the woke leftism, the cult that has taken that country and flushed it down the toilet. Well, guess what? At some point, there's going to be a response. So, what happened? Conor McGregor weighs in. And as you all know, because it's been a couple of days now, so everybody knows, Conor McGregor weighs in and makes some comments about migration and uncontrolled immigration and destruction to their civilization and all that sort of stuff, right? Jesse's best friend is Irish, and it's terrifying. Yeah, you've seen it too. So he weighs in with a spicy take that was accurate. I love how truth is now spicy, but that's how we've been programmed to live now. And so he was very frank and very direct. And what do you think? What do you think these pencil neck beta bureaucrats thought they would do? Right? You have Conor McGregor, who's not exactly known for being weak. What do you think they would do to him for telling the truth? Well, they started to persecute him legally and investigate him and get the police to investigate his tweet about the truth. This is the clown world 1984 bullshit we're living with now, right? And the thing that I find hysterical is, what did they think? They think Conor McGregor is gonna just back down and say, oh no, the police are investigating my tweet. I mean, he'll tear their throats out. What's the matter with people? Like, this is how stupid the bureaucratic classes. And it's not about left or right, by the way. It's the entire bureaucratic class has no concept of human motivation and human behavior. They just don't understand human beings, right? They're like robots, but dumb robots. And so the response of we're going to persecute Conor McGregor, then he'll back down. Okay. The response from McGregor was, no, maybe I'll enter politics. Bravo. Well played, Conor McGregor. Very good. So maybe the idiots in the bureaucratic class in Ireland, maybe they have just fostered not reciprocal violence, but a Javier Milei of Ireland. Maybe that's what they're going to get. Maybe Conor McGregor is going to be out there with a chainsaw doing campaign speeches in Ireland. How great would that be, right? They keep doing it to themselves. So I think that's a sign of hope and positivity. But I love how the leftist bureaucracy keeps fueling the monster that's going to destroy them. All right, next we got. Thank you, Jesse. You're awesome. Next we have Grok. So just want to talk a little bit about Grok. For those of you who don't know, Grok is this is amazing. It just goes to show, Musk is really bright. He really is. Unlike the bureaucrats, Musk very much understands human motivation and human behavior. That's why he's been able to be successful. I think that's probably his number one talent, in my opinion. So Grok is the AI, and Grok, I believe, means to understand something or something like that. But it's a brilliant word because it sounds like a name. It sounds like the name you would give to a pet, right? Oh, come here, Grok. Come here, Grok. So that's brilliant. That's the type of, they say 99% of design is invisible because there's so much thinking and putting things together and different ideas and working through it. That's an example of the 99% that's invisible. That how did he end up with the word Grok? That process getting there is amazing. I'm willing to bet it's what was much more than just instinct, right? There's a lot of research that went into it. But anyways, it's Twitter's AI, but what's going to make it different, or apparently it is different from people who've tested it, is it understands contextual language, unlike a lot of AIs. So they say. Does it? I don't know. Or at least it has the appearance of understanding contextual language because it is an LLM, a language learning model, right? It has a personality, which is very cool. Well, it's cool as long as we like the personality. And who's the personality they modeled it after? Well, it has a sense of humor, which is okay. Tell me more. And it turns out the personality, and oh my God, this is so perfect. So perfect. Again, this, like him or not, this is the brilliance of Musk. The personality is the author, Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams, who famously wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or the Dirk Gently books, like the Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul, those sorts of stuff. That is, and if all those books have the same sort of, the same type of humor, very tongue-in-cheek British humor. It's brilliant, right? And Angela says it essentially means to understand the profound and intuitively. Yes, exactly. So you now have an AI that can understand you contextually, they think, has the personality of Douglas Adams. You talk about taking the edge off and making the experience a positive experience. Like, that will be it. You can't be in a state of anxiety. If we talk about this often here, if you're in a state, if you're laughing and you're enjoying humor, like, those two things are the complete opposite, right? This is what I talked to Jordan Peterson about during the convoy when he was calling me, and I was explaining what the messaging tactic that I'm using and why I'm saying certain things in the media. And that was because I wanted us all to be out of the state of anxiety into a state of positivity. That was the whole purpose of the messaging. And it's the same here. So you can't be, in a state of anxiety, especially if you're going to go on AI and you're going to talk to it about, I don't know, let's say you're going to talk to them about the Free Palpatine protests. Well, if Grok responds in a way that's humorous, regardless of your perspective, that's going to bring your anxiety level down, right? So I think that is brilliant. But I think the other thing we've learned with all of this, I don't know if you've used other AI tools. I've used a bunch of them. I think Grok, for example, is taking what Replicas was supposed to do, which Replica's kind of horrible, actually. It's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like a digital friend. They tried to make it. They wanted it to be like a therapist online for people who can't afford therapy and all that sort of stuff. But that may be what Grok is able to do, because it takes all the things that things like Replica couldn't do, and maybe it's convincing enough that the users of Grok will think that will get the benefits that they were looking for in something like Replica. So I don't know. But I think the other thing we've learned in all of these AIs, if you've used any of them, they're all really quite dumb. They can't count. You tell them to, give me like a short paragraph on this, summarize this topic in, so many words. It never gets the word count right. It's kind of deceptive sometimes. Doesn't necessarily tell you the truth, right? And it gets a lot of things inaccurate and has a bias. So I think what AI is becoming is, remember Y2K? Remember the world is going to end? The world's going to end because somebody forgot a number in the computer on the date. Oh, the world's going to fall apart. The entire network's going to collapse. And then nothing happened. I think that's what we're seeing from AI. Once we become, as a society, intelligent enough to understand it's just word prediction. That's all it is. It's not actually thinking. It's just trying to, which is kind of how we behave too, but that's another issue. That I think the threat is gone. That the doomsday scenario of AI, I don't know if it's real. Maybe I'm wrong. And they talk about artificial general intelligence. Not convinced that's a thing, which is another issue. But anyways, check out Grok if you can. I hear it's amazing. I've signed up. What you do is you just search in Grok on Google or search engine, and there's a website linked to X where you can submit your email address that's associated with your Twitter account, and they're slowly onboarding people into Grok to test it. So maybe check it out. All right, we talked about Andrew Tate, the SJW champion now. Andrew Tate, SJW. All right. Elon Musk. Has Elon Musk done anything that's gotten some attention from the media or people around the world in the past day or so? I don't know. What'd you see? Did you see that interview he did? You must have. Everybody has. He did with, what's that guy? Is he from CNN? It's from one of the fake news left organizations. And I like this comment that he made, which is so accurate, which also, lends itself to the propaganda and the gaslighting we've been dealing with as a society and as individuals from the fake news legacy media and our politicians and the lobbyists and all that stuff. He said, I don't know, I disagree, Jesse. This was his comment. I like this one. He says, "What I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. What I see all over the place is people care about looking good while doing evil." Wow, isn't that accurate? Isn't that exactly what people are complaining about? Politicians, the WEF, all that sort of stuff. The BS rhetoric about, they're doing all these good things for the world while they're raping society for money, for resources. They're leveraging different racial groups against each other, creating discord, creating divide in society. But they all claim they're doing good things, right? Jesse says he doesn't care about others' opinions. Yeah, of course. So yeah, I thought it was, it's refreshing to hear. Now, many of us have believed this and said this, but it was really interesting to watch his transition, because I think if you saw him, followed his career over time, he was, I would argue, he's more libertarian than conservative or liberal, meaning he'll have some liberal views, he'll have some conservative views and whatever. And I think over time, what they've done is, because the political class, which we'll discuss in a second, and the corporate class have ganged up on him, that, like it's done to many of us, it forces us to either submit and become one of them, become one of the Borg, or decide, no, go fuck yourself. No, I'm not playing this game anymore, which is, I think, what you're seeing, what's happened with him. So what's interesting is he mentioned the many companies. Well, he didn't mention the companies by name, but he mentioned that several companies, large global multinational corporations, have threatened him and Twitter by pulling their advertising, thinking that that's leverage. He describes it as blackmail, and trying to get him to, I don't know, be more woke. This is the electric car guy. Like, the electric car guy who built his business on the idea of sustainability and sustainable energy and electric cars and fuels, well, not fuel cells, but the electrical packs in your home and solar technology and whatever. But that's not woke enough. No. It's never woke enough, because it's a freaking cult, right? You have to be all in 100%. You slightly deviate, then what do? They try to destroy your reputation. Just like politics, by the way, which I can tell you all about. And you saw a little bit of that during the Freedom Convoy and have seen it since, with all the bots online attacking myself and others who wouldn't play the political cult game because we think all the political cults are garbage, right? So because he wasn't pious enough, because he wasn't Puritan enough for the woke cult brigade, they decided they're going to blackmail him, or as he calls it, blackmail, threaten to destroy his company with advertising. And, Elon Musk's rightfully said, go ahead. And the whole world will see what your corporations will do. Well, what's interesting, if you haven't seen it already, is the various comments online in response of the thousands, tens of thousands, maybe more people saying, yeah, we're canceling Disney Plus, and I'm not allowing my children to ever watch anything Disney ever again. Why? Because Elon said, hi, Bob. He outed Bob Iger. He made Bob Iger the representation of the woke mob for the rest of us. And that's going to destroy the valuation of Disney stock and that company. Good on you, Bob. Don't know, not much of a chess player, are you? And this is why you hear, get woke, go broke. How about you just give me a product or service, and I don't want any political bullshit. That's it. How about that, right? And that's what we're going to go to, but some of these people in the corporate world need to learn the very hard lesson, right? Anyways, it was great. But that is the essence of the woke mob, and it is an evil and violent cult, is what it is. And you're seeing that in New York, while the Free Palpatine extremists, all the terrorists showed up for the unveiling of the Christmas tree, and once again turned it into Hydra and trying to destroy the West, right? I hope they keep doing it, because the more people do it, the more people will see what's behind the curtain, which is what we're all seeing. All right, honking for Christmas, I want to talk about. So on my last Substack, I released it a couple days ago, whenever it was, basically on this thing right here, this book. For those of you listening, I'm holding up a copy of Honking for Freedom, the trucker convoy that gave us hope. And I made the case, I think, in my Substack. Check it out, bjdichter.substack.com. I think I made the case for why this is an excellent Christmas gift, not just to preach to the converted, to friends who want to relive the positive stories around the Freedom Convoy and what we went through, because I didn't put a lot of the political garbage in here. Like, I didn't talk about the subversion and all that sort of stuff. I wanted to keep this pretty much pure and positive for everybody. But I think now that this is the second Christmas since the convoy, it's the second Christmas where we don't have to, have a quota for the maximum number of people we're allowed to bring into our home for Christmas dinner, or have to make masks or any of that sort of stuff. That now is the time where this might be an effective gift to friends of yours. Maybe if they're in the progressive cult to the extreme, maybe not for them. But for everybody else, the 80% of normies, normal people, the 80%, not 80% of normies, the 80% of people who are, confused about it. There's a lot of people who are just confused about the Freedom Convoy, and they'll say, like, yeah, I don't really understand it, whatever. And they're a small percentage of the population, but they are your more liberal friends and neighbors. And a lot of them are reasonable. They just don't have the full story because they watch legacy fake news. They pay cable operators to lie to them every day. And, well, here's an alternative. And maybe this is the time that you can reach out subtly and give them a stocking stuffer that will give them a positive story. Because remember, the Christmas season is all about, regardless of your faith, the Christmas season is all about unity, loved ones, bringing friends together, and, I would argue, freedom, right? Well, what better gift than to give them the story of the greatest protest in modern history around freedom, love, and unity, right? Plus, there's 2 chapters on Bitcoin. So if you want to orange pill people, which I think I might discuss in my next Substack, I'm not sure. But this is the way to do it. So I wouldn't be afraid. I think enough time has passed since the convoy that the brainwashing has worn off, and people are now kind of open at least to learning more. At least that's what I've been finding in more liberal-minded people that I've been speaking to. So right now might be the time to just, hey, I got you a little Christmas gift. It's not what you think. It's all positive. Give it a read. I think they'll be willing to read it at this point. But anyways, just a thought. So honkingforfreedom.com. Don't forget, it takes a little bit of time to ship them to you, depending on your jurisdiction. So if you're going to do it, then get your Honking for Freedom Christmas gift as soon as you can. And then I want to hear from you, from those of you who end up buying it as a Christmas gift for people who might have been confused. I'd like to have some feedback. Did it work? Was it able to reach them? Like, I know a couple of people in particular who bought this book for friends of theirs who were liberal, and it changed them. It opened up their minds, and they realized, oh my God, I can't believe I believed what I did, right? So I know it's worked in a couple of cases, but I'd love to have more data to support that. So if you can, consider it, and let me know what happens. All right, that's it for now. I got to do an interview with Brandon Gentili soon. If you don't follow Brandon Gentili on Twitter, X, you can find him there. Really good guy. I'm very excited to see him and spend some time with him and the others in Las Vegas next week. But I got to run for today, and if there's anything else, please let me know. I'll be working most of the day between, these interviews and stuff like that and streams. But just remember, all of this is, despite the little bit of noise we talked about today, I think we're talking about some really good positive developments. AI is not going to be the threat that we think it is. People like Elon Musk are standing up to the mob. People are standing up individually now. They've had enough. Doesn't matter where they are on the political spectrum. And people on the other side, at least I know, are now starting to listen to the truth of the Freedom Convoy without the brainwashing and the narrative poisoning in their heads anymore, because it's worn off. So Angela says, thanks for doing what you do, Ben. Oh, well, thank you very much. Your American viewers, could you talk about when we can expect a new Canadian Prime Minister, and what do you think of Pierre Poilievre? I will definitely talk about that sometime soon. My issue in Canada is the Uniparty, and that's the bigger issue. Where are you from in the U.S.? Because I did just speak in Florida last month. I'm going to be in Vegas next week, although I'm not speaking this week. I finally get to go to a conference and not speak. And but I do have some stuff lining up in the States and getting requests to speak in the U.S. In the new year. So depending where you are, I would, I like to go around to different places and meet people and supporters. So I am always available. But I will talk about Pierre Poilievre and the state of politics. You could technically get an election because we have a parliamentary system and a minority government. If it wasn't all corrupt and fixed, we could have an election as early as 30 days from now. But I think Pierre Poilievre, on that little skit on the plane, leaked something out, which was when he said jokingly, we have two more years of turbulence ahead. And I thought to myself, they have a deal. They've worked out a deal with Jack Mead. That's what that means. And that means they're intentionally waiting until 2025 when Jack Mead gets his pension and he'll run the election. He'll lose as leader, but he'll be the official opposition. The Liberals will implode, and then Pierre will get in office. At least that's what we're looking at. Washington State, which I hear is one of the most beautiful parts of the country. I've been to just about every part of the U.S., the only part I haven't been is to the upper left corner. And everybody tells me I got to go there. And we do have some people there who do want to get together along with some other people in Vancouver. So we may be doing something. Very cool. All right. I got to run. Thank you, everybody, for all the love. And be kind. Be good to people. Your subconscious is always watching. And that's how you're going to build real confidence, not the fake nonsense